Welcome to Retail Retold, the stories behind how that store landed in your neighborhood. I'm Chris Ressa, in conversation with the people and stories shaping retail and real estate. Brought to you by DLC. Welcome to Retail Retold, everyone. Today I'm joined by Brian Perry. Brian is a broker focused on the healthcare industry for EXP. He's based in the Mid-Atlantic. I'm excited for him to be here. Welcome to the show, Brian.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
So, Brian, tell us a little bit more about who you are, what you do.
Okay. I am originally from Jersey, moved here after my MBA, living in Jersey. I'd worked in New York previously, moved to the DC area January 2020 to kind of start getting going with my commercial real estate career. I was kind of recruited through military recruiting. So 2020, got started here, met a lot of people, made a lot of relationships during that time when things were not as good. And now I focus DC, Maryland, and Virginia. The DMV is primarily where I focus on healthcare, tenant rep, mostly, and some landlord.
So you were where in New Jersey from? I didn't know you were from New Jersey. I live in New Jersey.
Oh yeah. So I'm from a small town called Long Valley.
Oh my God, know it well. A lot of friends there. West Morris Central, man.
That's where I went to.
You
High
went to
school.
West Morris?
Yeah.
So I'm from the Netcong Byram area.
Oh yeah. So you're from my hood, basically. Okay.
Exactly. So I don't live there now. I live in a town called Kinnelon, but I went to Lenape Valley High School.
Oh, nice.
Right there. Beautiful area, Long Valley. It's been booming, actually. It's been growing pretty significantly over the last few years. A lot of people have been moving out there and working out east. For those who don't know, Long Valley is like, pretty country area, northwestern New Jersey, not far from the border of Pennsylvania.
Right.
And so you're from Long Valley. You mentioned military. You were in the military?
Yeah. So I'm a veteran. Served Guantanamo Bay in Iraq. That was my first kind of career. And then I
Thank you
started
for your
working.
service.
Yep, of course. Then I started working in New York City, which is what Jersey people do. They go to, I mean, at least that's what I did. I wanted to work in New York after service. So I did that for about 6 years, lived in, I'm sure you know, Hoboken.
Me too. I lived in Hoboken
Yeah.
as well.
So yeah, right there, Park Ave, right next to the train there. 77 Park, I think I was there.
Okay.
So that was my life for like 6 years. But yeah, that's
What'd you do? What'd you do in New York? What were you doing?
I worked at a company called Fitch Ratings. It was like, analyzing credit risk, financial portfolios. I did some weird things like tobacco and, uh, you know, analyzing those payments that they have to do and student loans, credit cards. So a lot of like portfolio review. And when I was there was the time when everybody was down on the rating agencies and trusting them. But for me, it was a really good experience to be in New York. That's what I wanted to do, look at numbers and do that thing. So that was
Yeah. I
fun.
think the rating agencies came really highlighted to the general public on challenges through the movie Too Big to Fail. Did you see the movie?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that's what it is. It's a relationship. It can get too cozy in a relationship business like that. And people just, you know, I don't
Yeah,
want
I get it. I get it.
to.
I get it.
Yeah.
So, uh, if you haven't seen Too Big to Fail, it's a really entertaining way to talk about the great financial crisis. You should go see it, everybody. Uh, how do you end up in the DMV and in commercial real estate?
Yeah, because I didn't have a background in that. The most I knew was my mom did residential, which is not commercial. I was looking in the finance marketing to work in New York. I had almost gone to the Madison. I ended up going to Boston College for my MBA, but I almost was going to go into brand management because I like marketing, and I got accepted into the Madison, Wisconsin MBA brand management, and they really are pretty selective. But I didn't want to go to the Midwest, being a Jersey guy. Um, but after that, I came back, and I was like, from Boston, I came back. There's a military, it's called the Lucas Group. They do military recruiting, and to be honest, I just kind of went down the list um, of potential things I might want to get into, and
I got to write this down. What are they called?
the Lucas Group.
The Lucas Group.
So my company that I just left, they were recruiting military to come down to come to the DMV, and I was like, okay, I'll come check it out. I had a condo there, so I wasn't really. I had bought like a year earlier, so I wasn't planning on moving, but I went down there, they talk the talk. They say, hey, there's an opportunity here. I really like that they were niched in healthcare because that's just how my brain works. I have to like have a lane where I focus. And family business, really nice, sold me on it. And I moved, a couple months after I came and visited them down here. Um, and I just got to work soon after. That was January 2020 about that I came down and that's when I started.
A wild time to enter commercial real estate, man. A wild, wild time. Because 90 days later, like there wasn't a lot of transactions happening.
That
So h- how did you, in such a short time period, like create a niche and get like clients, for lack of a better word?
I think because I had already understood I was going to do my own business almost before. So I kind of understood the marketing aspect of getting getting known first. But one of the things I did is I wrote a letter to introduce myself to potential clients and build instead of just handing out my card and going to different office buildings, I'd write a letter saying who I am. And that was pretty helpful. Then I was on LinkedIn quite a bit. I was, getting a lot of attention on there, and I just started talking to everybody, joined different groups, and was just very active. Obviously, in the beginning, even though I have like a background in, business background, it took me a while for me to like get confidence. But I had a mentor also that was talking to me. I met with him every week, talked to him every day. He picked up the phone. So any deal that I came across, he and I had questions. I had somebody directly there. So it kind of gave me confidence to go out and, talk to people and start developing some business.
Wow. You have a story about a plastic surgeon in McLean, Virginia. But before we go there and how that plastic surgeon ended up there, an interesting story because it's an owner operator. They own the building, which I'm excited about. But
Right.
before we get into that, tell me what you think about what's going on in healthcare real estate today from your vantage point, and you can bring me down what's going on more specifically just in the DMV and healthcare real estate. What's the market like? What are you seeing out there? What's going on?
So specifically in the DMV and the markets, because I do some in Maryland and DC, there not a lot of people are going directly to DC right now. It's over the past year, I'm getting asked a lot more of things that are just in the suburbs, Arlington, Falls Church, Tysons, McLean. This is where people want to be, like on the fringe, not quite in DC. I mean, obviously, I hope that changes. But everybody wants to be around where the population is growing. Uh, some a renewal I'm doing now is somebody who is partnered with somebody, but now they want to have their own office. So there's always business people even looking to start their own office or
But why are you seeing this push to the burbs versus in DC, in your opinion?
well, the development that's going on is not in DC. So people see Crystal City in Arlington because Amazon's going there, and they're like 8 million square feet. So all the developers are multifamily, everything. It's going to be like a huge new development there. So that's
Sure.
attracting people to that area. Tyson's, where I am, is a lot of business district, but the population's growing a lot. They're building income growth. So,
So there's opportunity. So those are growing. So put simply, your opinion, the suburbs are growing. People are coming out of the city, or even if DC's growing, people are seeing the opportunity in the burbs, and that's where they're looking to locate businesses.
yeah, I would say, Fairfax County is very wealthy, so
Sure.
it's kind of established. So, but it keeps moving, inching out to where people will be. But even like Falls Church, which is right near where I am, they're doing a ton of development too. So they're trying to. So those are predominantly, 15 miles and into DC are usually where people are looking.
And anything else about the market that you're finding interesting right now? Some of the things that you're seeing out there that are pretty consistent about what's going on as it relates to healthcare real estate in the DMV market.
Um, I think. We're also seeing, just in DC in general, they're finally put something out there about having the government workers kind of come back to downtown. They've been gone since the pandemic. So if they go back to um, pre-pandemic levels of telework, then all that retail, all that activity will, I think, start back up again. And that might be where I have more people saying, "Hey, I want to go to DC because these multifamily, these complexes, they have retail on the bottom, and uh, healthcare loves to go, kind of right underneath, like a dental or a spa, something like that." So I think that will. And the other market here that's huge is life science in Rockville. So Maryland, just because they have the uh, employ potential employees here, it's they're that's like a major hub for the life science.
Are you anything else about like healthcare specifically that you're noticing and how they're thinking about real estate, the healthcare industry?
In general, retail they want to be in the mixed use development, and healthcare will go on like the second floor usually. That's where they'll put healthcare. They've been willing to pay more in rent than in the past. Um, Fee for service, the spas, um, plastic surgery, dermatology. I see a lot of that growing.
Got it. Well, that would take us into your story. You mentioned plastic surgeon. You have a story about a plastic surgeon in McLean. What's the name of the plastic surgeon office?
Uh, it's Dr. Chang. Um, I gotta even see what he calls change his name. Um, Congressional Plastic Surgery. Um,
So, Callie, we're going to do that again.
okay.
So, hold on one sec, Callie. She's the person who runs through the editing.
Fine.
Uh, Brian, so what's the name of the plastic surgeon in McLean?
Congressional Plastic Surgery.
Okay. So walk us through, how did Congressional Plastic Surgery end up in McLean?
So actually, they were existing in McLean already.
Okay.
I had done my normal canvassing and cold call to get an appointment with him, and so we ended up, bring the rainmaker with me to the
Why?
meeting.
Just real quick, why did you call on this specific tenant? Was there a reason? Did you notice something like he was in a bad area? What of McLean? What was the
No,
reason
he
for
he
calling?
was actually I was targeting plastic surgeons
Okay.
on my reach outs, and he was the former president of where I was at. He was actually the leasing person for that building, so he could talk the talk about that. And I think I reached out to the society, the local society for plastic surgeons here. But he was willing to take a meeting. I did not think he already had like 7 years left on his lease that I found out. So I'm like, okay.
He's
Um,
not going to be ready to do something.
he's not going to be ready to do something. But after talking to him, convincing him to kind of, work with us, and I worked with him for at least a year, maybe a year and a half. Yeah, like a pretty long time. And one of the first things we did, I was like, okay, well, let's keep in touch. And so we ended up keeping in touch. And he's like, hey, can you look at off market for off market opportunities? And here, that's a bit more difficult.
Difficult everywhere.
Um, so I did find one opportunity um, for him that was nearby, but everybody sells for a price, and our valuation, everything was like double. He's like, well, yeah, I'll sell for 11 million for a $6 million building. I'm like, okay. And then I looked at auction, and we actually were in a bidding for it was a bank location in McLean, which was it's pretty nice. It was like
On auction.com?
what is it, the 10x or
10x, yeah. Yeah, 10x on 10x. Okay.
so on 10x, I believe that's where I kind of found it. So we had gotten to the second round where
You're on
they
10x, okay.
um we got to the second round, we put the bid in. I didn't feel like he was so locked into it for whatever reason. I was like, you got the parking, it's about 3,000 square feet, and for a surgery center, I was like, this would be good. You have it's near your previous office. Um, it was like a good location. Um, but what happened was we put in a bid. We didn't get that bid, but I found out later that there was all of these use restrictions on that property, and they had a temporary um, things were going to expire so that his use probably wouldn't have worked anyway. There was like a long list of problems with the property, or restrictions. They had condos in the back So I'm like, all right, that's not going to work. But at least I know he was, somewhat serious. And eventually we found out down the street there's a building for sale, but I didn't want to show it to him because it was like 16,000 square feet. But I found out he had gone to Texas, looked at all those doctors down there with all their the size space they had. So he comes back here. He's like, I want, much larger space. And so I really wasn't opposed to that. It's, good for me. So we ended up doing a deal for a building. So it was like 16,000 square feet. Let me see what I was.
And the was there a tenant in there? Was there a user in there? Was it vacant?
So there was a church user. I don't
Oh
know if
boy.
that's like this in other places, but in the basement level, it was a nice renovated building. So there's three levels. There's like a basement and then two floors above, but there was a church person there, I guess, using the space a couple days a week, paying way below market rent. So I really wasn't counting that, because that's like, okay, we'll probably move them out. But he saw the space. Um, and after he saw the space, lots of questions come up with parking, elevator, is it ambulatory, what size is it? Are we going to do overnight procedures? And I don't know about other markets, but if you try to do overnight here, it's really difficult, and you can't get the use permissions that quickly. So as long as he wasn't doing overnight procedures, they treat it just like they treat medical like office here, the requirements, along with the parking. So we had a civil engineer come out to kind of verify the parking, the gross floor, how they do the calculations. Then I got a contractor that had built out these facilities to kind of get him comfortable. So I was and then I had his financial advisors I'm talking to help them kind of plug in the numbers. And eventually we put in an offer, got the price down a little bit, to where, we could make sense of it. And early on in the process, it was like kind of going okay, kind of not going astray. And then we got the appraisal. Um, I know I'm kind of skipping ahead like a long time of different things, but we get the appraisal, and I know you probably experienced that, but the appraisal was very low
Yep.
for what we were doing. And I had read through because I had another property in Falls Church, so I'd worked with a certain appraisal.
So I
Uh,
have a question. I have a question real quick. So couple questions. One, just curious for a reference point. At this point, what is he deciding to do with the lease he has with 7 years term left?
he's he was confident that he would, because there is a demand here.
That he would be able to sublease it?
He would be able to sublease it. So I said, if he's comfortable doing it, then I think it's kind of realistic. So I was
Okay,
like,
so
okay, is it,
so one, so he's gonna sublease his existing. So two, the appraisal comes in low. Is he financing this with mortgage?
he is financing, he's getting 100% financing from a bank here. So he's not putting anything down yet. He's using,
Wow, is it a but so then it's not a mortgage, it must be like a business loan.
yeah, I mean, I used Atlantic Union because
Wow, 100% financing. Wow.
they, I mean, there was a couple other, I mean, I had known somebody there and I was kind of working with them because they were known to do these kind of deals with doctors. But
Got it.
they stuck it out because they had a little bit of competition when he was trying to call, but they kind of fought off the other competition to win the deal. But yeah,
So, okay, so the appraisal comes in low, what happens next?
well, let's see. Panic. No. Um, so initially I was thinking, so one of the things that it came in low was because they were confused about the office versus the medical use, the surgery center. I think they had thought, because it was unique, because if we were just buying an office, it would be different, but it's for medical. So we had to go back and try to
Defend your value.
challenge. And I think I did pretty good. I mean, I came back with a kind of an argument about this and this. No, it's not. It's not overnight. It's for a medical office. There's not a lot available at all, so it's kind of hard to find the exact comps because in Tyson's, this is like the top of the market for the suburbs in a way for a small medical office building. So to find the right comps to get the valuation, um, you know, with the seller, of course, I went back to the seller and I said, "Hey, this came in low. What do you want to do here?" Um, and they said, because we're not going to pay below appraisal. because he's also got $1 million in the build out. So that if we don't get the amount to where it covers everything, we can't do the deal. So went through that rodeo, and the bank agreed to get a second opinion on the appraisal. And I had kind of learned a little bit from the first one. I mean, I wasn't trying to change anything, but I'm like, okay, what do they really need altogether to to get to get to where we need to be? So I kind of just worked through that, got a new appraiser assigned, got her everything she needs, like some of the tenant improvement. I had to get all the things they were doing from like the finish. They wanted all these details. So that had taken me a while to get from the contractor what I needed. Um, but I mean, long story short, um, I ended up getting the appraisal number like the day before it was due to like close. We were like running up against the clock kind of. So at the like very last minute, I was asking the appraiser to get back. They get back with it, and it ended up going to the finish line on
So
there.
wow. And what was it originally listed at?
It was six. Originally, it was seven. I was like, that's way too much. Then they relisted it at 6.3, negotiated it to 6.1. Um,
And the appraisal came in at?
I don't know if I don't want to incriminate myself with, to be honest, but the appraisal, it's multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars. Probably,
Less.
yeah, like it, I think it was like, 700. Okay.
Oh, you got a new appraisal. Got a new appraisal.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's got a new appraisal. Okay. And and when did he close?
This was actually, it was last summer. That was,
Wow. Is he open yet or still under construction?
so the bank, I don't know if you know, but the banks are so like watching of everything going on. So I actually have to check because I told them to give him 18 months kind of to get this built. So I actually have to check with the contractor to see, how close he is. Initially, we were talking more, but he had to do something with the elevator and all these things that came up. And then he has space he has to lease. So I was going to lease that space for him, but um, they had to get his floor done before I could really do anything. But yeah, he should be in this summer. I got to check in, but I mean, it's
Got-
going to be good. Surgery center, you're going to make more money. It cost a lot to go to the hospital to get time in the hospital. So that's what kind of drives them to have their own space where they can do their procedures and not pay the fee they have to pay at the hospital.
Oh, is that how it works? A hospital charges him a fee.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that's how it worked.
Yeah, they charge, that's driving them to want to own and then run it out of their facility. Some plastic surgeons kind of get ahead because they want to do it like just after residency, but they need to work for a little bit before they're going to get this big healthcare loan to open up um, their own facility. So um, actually, there's a few people I got to talk to about that. But yeah, that's the big driver because I mean, but they make good money here. So
Fascinating. Well, Brian,
yeah.
this has been great. We're running up on time. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for sharing a story about an operator who owns their own building, a bit about how the healthcare financing works, and that little bit at the end about how I had no idea that one of the things driving surgeons to have, to do surgery out of the hospital is the way it works is the surgeon is like essentially renting the space from the hospital for period of time, and they're charging him a fee for that. I had no or her. I had no
Yeah.
idea.
Yep.
Well, Brian, this was great. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, man.
All right. Thank you.
So, Brian, you got to stay on for 1 second.
Okay.
It's going to say upload complete shortly.
Yep.
All right. Well, listen, man. We the stuff we own in the DMV, we own in the uh, urban ethnic environment there. So most of the stuff we own is like Prince George's County. I'm a large
That,
retail owner, Prince George's,
that's a hot, you know, that
and then
market is, yeah.
we own in Towson, and then we own in Prince George's County, and then we own in Frederick, Maryland.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah. I've been there.
if you're thinking anyone, any medical tenants would love, keep us in mind.
Yeah. I mean, if you got your listings,
Yeah.
everything's up there. Yeah. I do have Maryland, Columbia, Maryland. I just had a client there. And, so I do get out there. I'll get out there a bit more.
Yeah. But I'm in the throes of Prince George's. But if you got somebody there, let me know.
I love Prince George. Those homes, just from a living perspective, their prices are going up a lot.
Yeah.
It's a investor uh, place there. Yep. All right.
Well, Brian, keep rocking, man. It was good catching up.
You too.
All right,
Take
bye.
care.
Appreciate you watching. Hit subscribe. See you in the next one.